Live from AOPA headquarters in Frederick, Maryland, this is the 5th annual AOPA RA Bob Hoover Trophy Awards ceremony. Now, here is your host, Rob Ryder.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2020 Hoover Awards celebration. This is 2021, yes, but we're doing the 2025th annual event. We're live from AOPA headquarters here in Frederick, Maryland for this 5th annual awards ceremony. It's the first award actually was given to Bob Hoover in 2016, and in 2017, the next recipient at the historic Terminal A at Reagan National Airport was Sean D. Tucker. Tonight we will actually have 4 honorees with 3 different awards. We will have the Brigadier General Charles McGee Inspiration Award, and we also have the General Aviation Safety Award, and then to top things off, of course, the Hoover Trophy Award being given to Burt Rutan, of course. Bob Hoover's piloting skills, they were immense. They were untouchable. He was the best of the best. He is considered to be the most beloved aviator since 1903, since the beginning of powered flight, and it's what his life's mission was all about. If you haven't seen Bob Hoover fly, you can see him on YouTube. He does a couple of very, very impressive maneuver packages, one of which is his energy management sequence, in which he takes the twin-engine Shrike Commander, shuts down both engines, feathers the propellers, and proceeds to do a loop, an 8-point roll, and then lands and taxis up to the point at which he started his display, steps out and waves his cap, and that is the scene and the pose that we will see on the Bob Hoover Trophy this evening when it's given. He also did a very, very impressive stunt, if you will, with some generals in the back of his Shrike Commander. He put the airplane into a 1G barrel roll, and as he did, he backhanded poured a cup of, from a pitcher, a glass of iced tea, and you can see the horizon going around, and when he's upside down, the tea is still flowing straight into the bottom of the glass. You can see that on YouTube, and at the end of this evening, we'll put that link up so you can find it on YouTube. And speaking of putting that link up, we are going to have a chat room, and it's active now, and we'd love to have you check in to tell us where you're watching from. We'd like to know that. If you have some questions for our honorees, we'll have an opportunity for you to ask those questions, and we'll get them transmitted up, and then I'll be able to pass them on to the honorees to respond to them. And also, if you've got some comments for some ways that they inspired you or some stories you have, please let us know about that. Here at the AOPA headquarters in Frederick, Maryland, this is a town that was first founded in 1730. It was actually founded in terms of its incorporation in 1745, and one of the Frederick County celebrities, if you will, or a native of Frederick County, was a gentleman who, by the name of Francis Scott Key, who saw the shelling of Fort McHenry in 1814 and penned a poem called The Defense of Fort McHenry, the first stanza of which became our national anthem. And there's another gentleman who we know from here in Frederick who's important to not only the people here in town, but to aviators all over the world. And he is the president of the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, Mark Baker. Mark, good to be back with you, and welcome.
Well, thanks, Rob. It's great to have an evening. Be a little bit different evening than we'd like to have in person, but you know, it's nice to be together. Best I can say is the virtual does not hamper our enthusiasm for a special day one bit. While we are here today to honor our remarkable aviators, the ceremony is named for the true pioneer, Bob Hoover. To say that Bob was an inspiration as an aviator and a man that doesn't do justice to what he gave us all. While he was humble, very humble man, Bob Hoover radiated remarkable spirit and overcame many obstacles in his life's journey to become an inspiring and motivating, innovative pilot, not the least of which is surviving and escaping a POW camp during World War II. In this spirit for adventure and for giving back to the aviation community and why this award and this evening exists. And speaking of commemoration, it's truly a day to celebrate the general aviation and our passion for flight. And looking at the numbers, many pilots around the country are enjoying this passion and freedom to fly. GA flight operations have returned to and exceeded pre-COVID levels, up almost 30%. I am reminded that many days today we see more 172 in the skies than we see 737 airliners. While pilots have returned to the air, COVID challenges have put us an even brighter spotlight on safety. And safety is our DNA here at AOPA. On the topic of safety, and to kick off tonight's presentations, I want to introduce Richard McSpadden, who leads the AOPA Safety Institute, works tirelessly on every day to keep the nation's skies safe. Richard is recognized as a thought leader in aviation and in the world. He also served as a flight leader for the U.S. Air Force, the Thunderbird demonstration team, leading more than 100 presentations of flying the lead for this aircraft. Go ahead, Richard, take off.
Since we were founded more than 80 years ago, and it remains fundamental to what we do today. We've been able to drive the general aviation safety accident rate down year after year, thanks to people like Boris, who we're going to recognize tonight. And so we developed the General Aviation Safety Award, not just to recognize these people, but to make sure the entire industry was aware of the impact that they have on general aviation safety. So let's play this short video.
The AOPA Air Safety Institute is pleased to present the 2020 General Aviation Safety Award to Ballistic Recovery Systems founder Boris Popov. His aviation path took a dramatic turn after a hang gliding accident in 1981. This inspired him to develop a recovery system that could save pilots and passengers in the event of an emergency. Motivated by his own experience, just 5 years after that accident, Boris's recovery parachute design was patented and available for ultralights and experimental home-built aircraft. But Boris had bigger ideas.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, deploy.
After some modifications, he got his design approved and installed in more than 30,000 GA-certified aircraft. With over 418 lives saved, Boris's ballistic recovery system is truly a life-changing invention. Thank you, Boris, for bringing your ingenuity and passion for safety into general aviation. Join AOPA in congratulating Boris Popov.
Boris, thanks to your design and ingenuity, over 400 people are alive today. Your persistence in bringing BRS to the market and sticking with it, I'm proud to present you AOPA's General Aviation Safety Award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Richard, Mark, and Rob. Thank you for those kind words. It's a precious tribute to all of the people who worked diligently and with great courage to create the BRS product. And to them, I am forever grateful. You know, it's hard to not sound repetitive with other aviation award winners' acceptance speeches. But as I thought about what words may best represent my thoughts, it struck me that by AOPA presenting these types of awards, you not only are honoring the recipients, but yourselves as well. For these awards inspire future potential award winners to strive forward and with new creative ideas to take risks, to stay determined to succeed. So your efforts at AOPA to identify and acknowledge aviation milestones has and will continue to benefit all of us. So my hat's off to all of you at AOPA. Currently, BRS records 438 lives saved to date. But you know, that does not reflect the full impact of their use of BRS. Imagine the collateral benefit to the families, the personal businesses, and the sobering negative impact for the reputation of general aviation flying if 438 people were instead added to the total fatal accident statistics. So again, thank you for considering BRS for this award. This type of endorsement and peer acknowledgement provides all of us at BRS with the motivation to continue to make flying safer for everyone. Fly safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Boris. Don't go away. We have a couple of questions that we want to ask from the chat room. And before we do, I'll start with one that I'd like to ask right now. The first parachute you used, was it something along the lines of a World War II cargo chute where they'd lower a jeep from a flying airplane, or even the kind of parachutes that lowered our astronauts into the ocean on their returns from space, like in the Mercury program?
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go. My first parachute that I was involved with was my mother's bed sheet with thread tied to the four corners and a 10-foot high oak tree in my yard. That didn't go real well. But the first parachute was really a standard 18 gore parachute that we designed for ultralights, things up to 200, 300 pounds, pretty standard round canopy. But as we progressed into heavier and heavier weights and speeds, we developed parachutes capable today of up to almost 8,000 pounds and over 200 miles per hour. And we're developing even more capable parachutes as time goes on here.
Well, and let me ask about the high-speed parachutes. There's something else that I believe that you patented to make sure that these parachutes wouldn't rip to shreds if they're deployed at high speed.
Correct, and that was the annular ring slider, and that was a device that basically controlled the opening of the skirt of the parachute at high speeds, but it didn't affect the really rapid open you needed at low speed and low altitude. And that made it possible for us to compact and provide a very small parachute with zero porosity material. But yet at high speed, it would not blow the parachute up. It would sense the speed. It would mitigate that opening load a bit to 25% of the total opening shock.
Wow.
And that really opened up the performance envelope that eventually led to Cirrus, as you know, taking on the product as a standard equipment.
Well, sir, congratulations, and thank you for your contributions to the safety of all of us in the aviation business. Thanks for being here, and once again, congratulations, Boris.
And thank you all.
Thanks, Boris. Stay warm.
We do have, I tell you what, do we have a question here? We can, hang on. We have one from Jerry. It says, seems like such a crazy idea to drop an airplane on a parachute. Is there a backstory to the idea? Seemed like a crazy idea at first, I am sure.
Well, there's a lot of backstory to it. But it basically, to make it real quick, I was being towed behind a boat in a hang glider in 1975, and cross signals with the boat driver. I wanted him to slow down. He sped up, hit the throttle of a 200 horsepower inboard boat. My hang glider pitched up, crossbar broke. I went down from 500 feet, and all the way down, my inspiration was, what am I doing? I don't have any kind of a parachute device that could save my life. I was a gymnast in college and high school. I knew how to fall, hit the water, knocked out a bunch of my fillings, literally spit fillings out of my mouth as I came to the surface, and promised myself after that survival that this is insanity. There's got to be some way of developing a parachute device that's going to save other people in those kind of situations that I found myself in.
That is an incredible story. Thanks again, Boris.
You're welcome. Thank you, John.
Well.
Well, turning our attention now to another honor, one that recognizes one of America's most important aviators and military heroes, a true national treasure.
Tell you what, it is.
It wasn't easy for Charles McGee, or for any black person.
Don't let the circumstances be an excuse for not achieving. Because you see, we could have, because they didn't like us, didn't want us, could have turned away from supporting our country. We didn't do that.
They volunteered to fight for America, but the Army Air Force didn't have high expectations for black pilots and mechanics.
First authorization for the 99th Fighter Squadron was an experiment by the Army because they expected it to fail.
But Charles McGee and the other Tuskegee Airmen did not fail. They had a job to do.
They said our task was to help save American lives.
The Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails, did that job with valor and distinction, flying their fighters to protect the American bombers over Germany, racking up one of the best records in preventing German fighters from attacking American planes. But while the Red Tails were fighting fascism in Europe, they were also fighting racism in America. The Tuskegee experience marked the beginning of desegregation of the U.S. military.
Perform military service for a country, you might say it was the first step. But you know, it took the civil rights action of the 60s before motels, hotels, and all transportation and things like that began to change, where everybody was treated, again, equal access, equal opportunity.
Through all of those years, Charles McGee persevered, pushing past the obstacles to make the world a better place for generations to come.
There are 4 P's I give to young folks: perceive, prepare, perform, persevere. Perceive, dream your dreams. But I always add, hopefully as you discover your talents, you pinpoint something you like doing. But prepare, get a good education, learn to read, write, and speak well, and develop those talents. Perform. Let excellence be your goal in everything you to do, always doing your best. Nobody can ask more from you if you aren't doing it. They can if you aren't doing your best. And persevere. We could have gone off, bowed our heads, said they call me names, don't like me, and not served our country. Don't let circumstance like that be your excuse for not achieving.
The life lessons from Brigadier General Charles McGee and the Tuskegee Airmen continue to inspire new generations.
To become first of all, you must first become a servant of all. But that goes to the mentoring and reaching back and the helping others along the way. I can't ask for anything better.
General McGee serves and inspires.
The next award is named for someone we have grown to know pretty well at AOPA, and for good reason. Brigadier General Charles McGee stands for what we should all strive for. Aviators in all of America. General McGee is a military hero who flew missions in 3 wars, and a member ambassador of the famed Tuskegee Airmen, the true spirit of the greatest generation. When General McGee was 100 years young, he flew next to me in the right seat of a jet and did darn well. And we're going to do it again next year, I hope, at his 102nd birthday in December 7th of 2021. A month later, General McGee conducted the coin toss at the Super Bowl and was a guest of the State of the Union. His 138 combat missions are just part of General McGee's story. He has been a trailblazer for generations of aviators. He has enabled thousands of enthusiasts to follow dreams and who might have had a chance to climb into the cockpit. So with that, I'm honored to make 2 announcements. First, the first establishment of the General Charles E. McGee Aviation Inspiration Award here at AOPA, which is bestowed upon the aviator who represents the ideals of this great American. I'm excited to present the inaugural General Charles McGee Inspiration Award to who else? General McGee. It's only fitting he gets the very first award.
Thank you, Mark. Indeed, this is certainly honoring me as a step in my life that has bring more joy and more for me to hang on to pass on to the young folks that I still may have the opportunity to mentor. Indeed, I am sincerely pleased.
Thank you, General McGee, for your inspiring so many people along your amazing journey. I now have the unique honor to honor another aviator and a hero in the name of General McGee. Like General McGee, U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Kenyatta Ruffin has blazed an amazing trail in the skies. As important as his accomplishments are aloft, Kenny's tireless efforts to ensure that general aviation has a bright future and truly represents our society. Let's take a quick look at the story of Colonel Ruffin.
Too many youngsters out there need mentoring. And if you aren't finding one of them, you need to.
Lieutenant Colonel Kenyatta Ruffin takes that admonition to heart. He's done it most of his life. Always fascinated by flight, he soloed a glider at age 14. He became a flight instructor, founded a flight school, and helped create a STEM-focused summer camp for middle school students. Then to the Air Force Academy, the F-16, and ultimately command of the Air Force Recruiting Service Detachment 1. And he founded the Legacy Flight Academy.
The Legacy Flight Academy is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to uphold and sustain the legacy of the heroic Tuskegee Airmen. In 2015, we began conducting the program you have here today, our Eyes Above the Horizon program, where we give young people a free flight in a general aviation aircraft.
But the Legacy Flight Academy is about much more than that.
It's real important that they learn about the Tuskegee Airmen because of the diversity that they overcame back in their time, the great things they accomplished. It shows them that no matter how hard their unfamiliar circumstances, they can overcome it.
The Legacy Flight Academy provides awareness, inspires interest, and provides opportunities for kids to understand and pursue aerospace careers. And although the Academy targets minority youth, it is open to all students, just as the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen transcends ethnic, racial, or gender barriers. Following the lead of General McGee, Lieutenant Colonel Kenny Ruffin is inspiring the next generation of aviators.
Well, Kenny, here's your award, the very first one that's been presented under Colonel McGee's name. What an amazing story, an amazing aviator, an amazing man. I can't think of anyone better who embodies the words we just heard from General McGee, who we both know. And like General McGee, we have been blessed to have the opportunity to get to know Kenny here at AOPA. He has been a great friend and a supporter of the aviation programs. On behalf of General McGee and AOPA, I'm proud to present the Brigadier General Charles E. McGee Aviation Inspiration Award to an American hero, an aviation pioneer, and Lieutenant Colonel Kenny Ruffin, and a good friend. Kenny?
Thank you so much, Mark, and just a special thank you to Brigadier General McGee. Truly, you, sir, have been an inspiration to me for so long, and it's just unfathomable that I would be here receiving an award in your namesake. My mom taught me growing up that to whom much is given, much is required. And General McGee has given me, has given us, and truly given the world so much that there is no way that I could live my life without honoring his gifts of freedom, service, and opportunity. The motto of the Legacy Flight Academy is to know, live, and grow the legacy of the heroic Tuskegee Airmen. And so I accept this award tonight on behalf of all my friends and wingmen who have worked so tirelessly towards this goal, and in appreciation of all those who have supported its mission. The legacy values of loyalty, excellence, goals, attitude, courage, and integrity reflect the amazing character of General McGee, and it's what I hope to inspire in the next generation of in the next generation of Tuskegee Airmen. And so to AOPA and all who had a part in making today's event a reality, thank you all so much. And to General McGee, again, sir, to you, thank you for your example of competence, courage, commitment, and capacity that has and always will guide my life.
Awesome. Nice job, Kenny.
Thanks. Kenny, don't go away. We've got a couple of questions here. The one came in from Virginia, and this person by the name of Chris asks, what is the one message you hope young people receive when they see you out on the ramp?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's what General McGee embodies, and what most of us embody as aviators is, hey, you can do this too. There's nothing superhuman about what we do. It does take perseverance, as General McGee said. It does take commitment, but it doesn't have to be an impossible dream. It can be a very realistic goal. And so that's what I hope to inspire, and it's a privilege every time I get to take youth or others flying, and it's a pretty neat thing that we have here in the aviation community.
It is pretty cool to see the red-tailed Mustang over your right shoulder there. That never and on the patch there.
Yeah.
Tell us about the patch.
Yep. So this is the patch of the original Tuskegee Airmen, the 332nd Fighter Group from World War II that General McGee and all of those American heroes wore. And actually, it's still one of our units in the United States Air Force today. And I had the opportunity to be a real live Tuskegee Airman myself. In 2007, that photo in Iraq, I was a member of the 332nd Air Expeditionary Wing, and that same unit currently exists today, deployed in the Middle East, and maybe the wing commander there is watching, but it is a great honor that we have in the United States Air Force to represent the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen.
We got another question from Eric from here in Maryland. He says, and I quote, "How can someone who seems so nice be such a badass in the air?" You got to know the guy, right?
No, I don't. Well, maybe. We'll see. It's classified, I guess. I think the simplest for most fighter pilots, we know two famous words that are some of our favorite, and it's fight so on. Once those two magic words, it's like the whistle going up or the ball being tossed in the air. All bets are off, and I can be nice and still beat you at dogfighting or hit my target or whatever it is I have to do and be about business. So I'll be nice on the ground, but kind of focus in the air.
Cool. We got another. They're coming in. This has come from, oh my gosh, Colonel Eric Torres, I believe, Vance Air Force Base, and the 71st Operations Group are extremely proud of you, Lieutenant Colonel Ruffin. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. And they say, Vance proud. That's
awesome. That may or may not be my boss. Again, it's classified. I can't tell you.
You could tell us, but, right?
right. But I'd have to kill you right in a second.
Of course. Hey, thank you. I think that wraps it up.
This will be yours. We'll be sending it to you soon. You will, pal.
Congratulations, Kenny. Cool stuff.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
What wonderful aviators and pioneers we've honored tonight, and we're certainly not done. The next award, for which our evening is named, honors someone who exhibits the airmanship, leadership, and passion for aviation and life demonstrated by R.A. Bob Hoover, nicknamed by his friends the Hoov, during his distinguished career as a pilot and aviation advocate, while also serving as a source of inspiration and encouragement for current and prospective aviators. Let's learn more about the man and the legacy behind this award.
There is not a man nor a woman in this room who, when we grow up, don't want to be just like R.A. Bob Hoover.
Jimmy Doolittle said that Bob Hoover was the greatest stick and rudder man that ever lived, and if you ever saw him fly, you would say the same thing. But Bob Hoover wouldn't say that.
I was the most least likely person to ever become a pilot, or a good one. And I just must tell you that I feel very humble about it all. I had a lot of people encouraging me.
And Bob paid that encouragement forward.
It was this, his ability and desire to share lessons and hear about yours. It was obvious that Bob was all about giving back and making others better, as opposed to pontificating and talking about himself.
No matter who you were, if you were interested in aviation, Bob had all the time in the world for you.
Best ever outlook and attitude towards other people, including all of the pilots. Treated generals and line service personnel as equals.
And because Bob was so willing to share, hundreds, maybe thousands of pilots are alive today.
One of the best things that ever happened to the United States Air Force was when he got out. Because in his capacity as a civilian, he was able to influence more pilots and save more pilots' lives than anybody.
But you know what? I think his true legacy is not those incredible flying skills or what he taught us about grace and humility. His true legacy is all of us, a generation of people who have shaped their lives and what he taught us, and will now pass that on to the next generation.
You know, the most important thing that any aviator can do is encourage others to want to fly. And the best way to do that is to be very humble, very supportive of what they're doing, and make certain that they are passing along, that you don't have to be Superman to fly an airplane, but you need to be understanding of the people that you're flying for and the people you're trying to encourage to become good aviators.
The Bob Hoover Award will be presented each year to an aviator that best exemplifies Bob's airmanship, leadership, mentorship, and passion for aviation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present an award in my name to these great people who are following in my footsteps.
The final award of the night and the centerpiece of the ceremony is the annual RA Bob Hoover Trophy. This honor is given to an aviator who exhibits airmanship, leadership, and passion for aviation and life as demonstrated by Bob Hoover. Bob Hoover was known for many accomplishments in aviation, but he was always the proudest to be known as a mentor. I witnessed it many times when Bob Hoover would go up. One of his ways to squat down and talk to young people, listen to their dream, inspire people, offer a word of encouragement to fellow aviators, and coach the likes of Sean D. Tucker, which can't be easy. The future of aviation has always been Bob's sights. And about tonight's Hoover Award recipient, Burt Rutan, the man who lives up to those ideals. He's someone I have admired for his many contributions to aviation over the years. He's an innovator, he's a pioneer, and an inspiration. But just don't take my word for it. Watch this.
I don't think there's another guy like Burt on the planet. I really don't.
And there's nothing else like a Burt Rutan design on the planet.
Burt's thoughts are what is unique about him, and he's just so innovative. And he's willing to push boundaries, use unconventional thought to seek out solutions to aeronautical problems that have been around since the beginning of flight.
From his first home built, Burt has fixed the problems of conventional aircraft, like stall and loss of control.
That problem can be completely solved by designing an airplane that doesn't mush into the ground or roll on its back when it stalls. Won't have the accident. Wow, what a challenge. I mean, I could take the biggest killer in general aviation and solve that by designing a proper airplane.
His trademark canard design, first used on the Very Viggen, is virtually stall-proof.
And I wanted to, with that airplane, prove that I could build an airplane that wouldn't have the accident that kills most general aviation pilots.
The Very Viggen was wood with aluminum wings.
I built those out of aluminum because I wanted to learn building in aluminum. So I learned two different ways of building airplanes.
But he soon developed another way of building airplanes, inspired by a sailplane repair business.
And that was the inspiration for what I called the modeless composite manufacturing method, which was very easy, the Defiant, the Catbird, the Boomerang, everything. Composite structure was not the fun and the goal. Composite structure allowed me to more quickly do flight test. And I could envision doing an airplane every year and getting to flight test a new airplane every year if I built out of composites.
I clearly believe Burt taught the world that you can do composite airplanes in the general aviation recreational space. And we all know that through Burt, it also proved that he did teach the business aviation people that it was possible also with the Starship and some of the other designs that came out from Burt's technology.
His composite designs revolutionized the amateur aircraft world.
Well, it's because of the way that he builds things, that he designs things to be built. I mean, the foam and fiberglass thing that all the home builts are made out of. I mean, there's 2,200 Long-Easies flying out there.
And Burt designs aircraft that challenge conventional wisdom about what's possible.
I think it's possible to fly twice as far as that B-52 flew on the distance record. Twice as far. I think it's possible to fly all around the world. Maybe even possible to do it at the equator instead of cheating by going up to the tropic Capricorn and Cancer.
The aircraft? Voyager.
To everyone's surprise, the Voyager made it the first try.
It seems that just about everything he designs just works.
But Burt was the only guy who knew how to design anything. And even fairly late into scale, there was nobody there who helped him. He would just sketch something out, design parts for it, put the drawings out, and we'd make the parts. At the end of the day, we'd put it all together and go flying. And it would do exactly what he said it would do.
He put civilians into space on his first try with a novel folding aircraft.
When one day he came up and said that he thought he'd figured out how he would do a spaceship, I thought he had literally had lost his mind. And the airplane performed exactly like he said it would. And he designed the rocket motor. I mean, come on, he just pulled that out of his ass. He just came up with an idea to build a rocket motor. And I thought, man alive, rocket motors are really dangerous things. But it worked. It worked perfectly every time. Every time.
Burt Rutan's work and life represent the airmanship and passion for aviation demonstrated by his good friend, Bob Hoover.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and the winner of this year's R.A. Bob Hoover Trophy Award, Mr. Burt Rutan.
Well, hello.
Hello, Burt. Congratulations, sir.
Well deserved.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be on the list to get Bob Hoover's trophy. I think it's best for me to tell how I met Bob Hoover. It was 47 years ago. I was working for Jim Beatty that 2 years that I spent in Kansas with the showman Jim Beatty. We had just recently flown a jet version of the BD-5, and Jim had a DC-3 with a cargo door. He stuck it in there, and we flew to the Reno air races. And we pulled it out to demonstrate this new Jim Beatty airplane. And of course, Reno has very big crowds, and it's filled with journalists and so on. And Jim hunted up Bob Hoover, and he said, can you do a flight demonstration in our new airplane, our new little jet? Well, it's interesting because it had only been flown recently, and Bob Hoover had never seen a BD-5. And before you know it, he shows up on the flight line. Les Bourbon, our test pilot, leaned into the cockpit and gave him some cursory instructions on how to operate it and what its limits were. And a wonderful thing happened in the next few minutes that I'm writing about for my memoirs. My memoirs are not a book that you buy and put on the shelf. I'm going to have for free download hundreds of stories of my whole life and thousands of photographs. And one of those stories is going to be the neat thing that happened when Bob Hoover at the Reno air races took off in this brand new little jet.
We're eager to see that and read that, Burt. I got to tell you, it's got my attention.
Hurry.
Well, it's been really a lot of fun. Finally, at age 77 here, finally deciding that I need to tell a lot of these stories that have never been published before, and they're going to be fun things to read. And I just would like to make sure that not just historians, but certainly aviation enthusiasts get a chance to look at the inside story of all this fun I had doing 49 different research airplanes.
Got a question for you. We have several questions from the chat room this evening, but I have to ask. I'm looking at the bookcase. Is it broken, or is it just a high angle of attack bookcase?
Well, you design things to fit things that you have, and the books that I had didn't fit very well on horizontal bookcases, and And I don't know if you've ever used a bookend, but they don't work and the books fall down. So this is kind of my solution to that.
Okay, gotcha.
Works
okay.
good.
We have a question here from Kevin. He says, did you have any project, from Kevin, congratulations, Burt. Any thoughts on eVTOL designs that have come out in the past few years? Got any that you've been sitting on?
Well, I have been toying with that some. I can tell you that even though there's about 150 outfits in the world designing or developing these things that have rotors and that hover and that go across town, I do think they're all doing it wrong. And
Whoa.
I have an idea that I am excited about, and if it actually gets built, another thing that'll be kind of cool for me is it'll be my 50th research airplane.
That would be pretty neat. We have another one here from Dave from Weatherford, Texas. Says, did you have any projects before the very beginning? And if so, did any make it to flying status?
Well, I did do a model airplane of a very big in type, and I used it to win the National Student Design Award when I was in college. But no, the very big one was my first attempt at building a manned home-built airplane.
Awesome. One more. Sean writes, Burt, where do you get your inspiration for your designs? It seems like you challenge the conventional wisdom of form follows function.
Well, inspiration isn't just that. It takes all three of the C's. The curiosity, i.e., I'm curious about something that might work. The creativity, which means coming up with the ideas to solve a problem with design, and of course courage. And I was lucky enough to have all of those. The last one people don't pay a lot of attention to, and that is if you're going to do a new airplane and you're going to fly the first flight yourself, you got to have some courage to do it, right?
Yes, indeed.
So that's pretty much the short story, but the long story will be when you can read all those stories of my life.
Burt, we look forward to that, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Congratulations to you as the recipient of this year's Hoover Trophy. Thanks, Burt Rutan. Don't go away. Mark?
Burt joins an esteemed group of world-class aviators who have received the R.A. Bob Hoover Trophy, and they offer their congratulations to the 2020 winner of the Hoover Award. Watch this.
Bob spoke often of the 9 people who influenced his life and his career. And Burt, as you know, you were one of them. We call you Hoover's heroes. You've had an incredible influence on aviation and aerospace design and engineering, and you show no sign of quitting. My respects, sir.
One of a kind, very big into Spaceship One. I believe Burt understands everything that can fly, how far, how fast, and can build it better than anyone in the world. Simple and reliable. I would pick Burt number 1 for any new project. I think Voyager says it all. Around the world nonstop in 9 days and 3 minutes. Flown by his brother Dick, a great military combat test pilot, and Gina Yeager in 1986. No one else has tried to beat that in the past 35 years. Bob would be proud. Burt has the AOPA Bob Hoover Trophy. I feel lucky and happy to have known Burt for over 40 years. Congratulations, Burt.
Congratulations, Burt, for receiving the Hoover Trophy. I only wish Bob was here so he could personally present it to you. Did you know that you were one of Hoover's heroes? One of 9 people who greatly influenced his career? I remember him telling me one time, "Sean, any knucklehead can fly an airplane, but that Burt Rutan designed magnificent flying machines." And design you did. 49 different manned aircraft, 25 of which are in museums around the world. We have the Voyager in the Smithsonian, the first non-stop, non-refueled aircraft to fly around the world. You put the first civilian astronaut in space with the design of Spaceship One and White Knight. You created an entire industry of general aviation home-built aircraft. What a journey. And I think what's so most important, Burt, is that you open the door for so many to follow a path, to search for excellence in execution. Congratulations, Burt. God bless America.
Those are Sean D. Tucker's 3 favorite words, Burt. But you heard from the 3 previous recipients with Clay Lacey and Harrison Ford and Sean D. Tucker. They have immense respect for you, sir.
Well, I just I feel so proud that they are my friends.
Indeed.
Very
Well,
much.
We
There's
want
another. If you have a moment, I
Yes.
wanted to make a point because a lot of people look at my career as, well, you never produced an airplane, never certified one. I did look at that when the grandfather of Piper, Bill Piper, wanted to certify and produce my Defiant home built. And I'm very glad that I decided not to do that because when you get down doing multi-year wrestling with the FAA and with all of the details that you need to do to produce an airplane, you lose sight of where your real skills were, and that is coming up with innovative designs. And I worked with literally dozens of different companies that went off and tried to certify and produce airplanes. And I was always I was able to do the real fun things that I had to do, that I got to do, because of the decision to just stay away from the FAA.
I hear that. Well, we are grateful for the path you chose to take us into space, to take us into areas of design that were not conventional, yet were very, very instrumental in changing the way we think about how airplanes fly. Burt Rutan, we thank you.
Thanks, Burt.
Well, what an evening. Great aviators, inspiring stories, and wonderful memories, and a great foundation on which to build the future of aviation. As we wrap things up tonight, we want to again congratulate Boris Popoff, Brigadier General Charles McGee, Lieutenant Colonel Kenny Ruffin, and of course Burt Rutan. Thanks to all who participated on the chat room for your comments, for your commercials. Thanks to, I should say, your questions. And thanks to everyone who watched tonight. Thanks to all the folks here at AOPA behind the scenes. And Mark Baker, it is always a pleasure to hang with you, even though we are 6 feet apart, maintaining social distancing. I hope to see you at Sun and Fun in Oshkosh, and looking forward to the time when I can get up close and personal, shake your hand, and give you a good hug. Thanks for letting me be part of this very, very important evening.
Thanks, Rob, and we look forward to seeing everybody in person next year, we hope, in Washington, D.C. Thanks.
That'll be good. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.